Today, Cooper Marriott, Aaron Nezovic, and to get us started will be Brett Lynch. And away we go from Casey Fields. Getting up high in the ruck was the 190cm ruckwoman Talia Gillard. Cleared the area with the initial hit out. Kirkwood works a little handball looking for the ruckwoman there in Gillard. She left it for Lampard. Now through comes Wotherspoon, who was good on debut last week. She's stripped in the tackle. Lampard works a little kick up the way of O'Neill, who got beaten to it there by the debutante for Port Melbourne today. That's Gabby Booth, former basketballer. Southside Flyers playing her first VFLW match. Here's Lauren Caruso in those customary long sleeves. Works the kick out the way of Stella Reid. Good spoil came in the back there from Lily Johnson. Her birthday today. Gets a couple of early handballs. Out now with the former captain Kirkwood. It's a beautiful delivery to half forward and finds Joanna Lynn, who kicked the Demons' winning goal last week in the final minute of the match. Sends them into attack. The ball bounces away from Gall. Trapped by Borg, and now off to McKellar. And out of the back 50 come Port Melbourne. A nice mark taken out there by Ava Seaton. And quickly to the changes today. Casey have made 5 of them from the side that beat Williamstown last week. Out goes Sammy Johnson with illness. Siobhan Sheeran, Alicia Bertrand, Alex Castelliotis and Leah Swain are all omitted as we look destined for a ball up on the outer side. In comes Olivia Morris, who returns from concussion. Melbourne have decided to give Gemma Rigoni and Alyssa Bannon another run today. Talia Gillard and Georgia Gall, who you've already seen play their first VFLW matches of the season. Port Melbourne have made 6 changes from the team that beat Williamstown. Izzy Stutt is out with a leg injury. Molly Denahi Maloney is omitted. Richmond have decided to withdraw Eilish Sheeran, Mackenzie Ford and Ali Dalloway. And a late out as well is Federica Frew with a broken nose that she suffered in the final act at training during the week. So after playing game number 50 last week, Federica Frew misses today. So it's going to be a different looking forward line for the Borough. And they're about to have it go into their back line after the free kick is won here by Madigan. Holding the ball, said the umpire. Madigan, one of a handful of Melbourne-listed players in the side today. Her kick goes up towards the paint of 50, comes to the foot of the pack where there's a big tackle applied in there by Meg McDonald. Coming in for Port Melbourne, Izzy Hartog returns from the emergencies. Their big off-season recruit, Jordan Mifsud, Lambert Pearce medalist last week, finally gets a run as there's a hurried kick out into the forward pocket for the Demons. Hasn't been a bad start by the ladies in the red and blue. Both teams wearing red and blue, of course. Forward 50 stoppage for the D's. So Geordie Mifsud is in. They've decided to give listed players Molly Eastman and Jemima Woods a go. And Georgia Booth, 21-year-old cross-coder from basketball, who we've already seen. Fedi Frew is replaced in the team today by Jessie Williams, who comes in for VFLW game number 49. The ball's camped in the Demons' forward line here. O'Neill trying to muscle her way through. She's held up by Eloise Ashley Cooper and Belinda Woolcock. Woolcock, of course, a former Demon. Played for the D's in that final round upset last season of the Borough. Seaton gets to work underneath. Handball to the running Woolcock. Beautiful kick towards the outer side. Didn't quite have the carry to find Madeline Patterson. It's chopped off by Phillips, who works it on to Delaney Madigan. One of 8 Melbourne-listed players out there today for the Demons. Kicks down towards the paint of 50. The Borough are quick to get numbers back once again. Seaton gets involved. Quick kick away was intercepted by Lampard. Went looking for McDonald. McDonald drives it down towards Gall at the top of the goal square. She brought it to the front where Joanna Lynn was ridden into the turf, and the umpire says, I'll ball it up 15 metres out from goal. Gone nearly 4.5 minutes in this first quarter. Casey have dominated the territory. They'd love a goal for their hard work. Still we're tied up out there in the back pocket. That was Mifsud who got the handball from Courtney Bromwich underneath the pack. Mifsud's kick was not touched before travelling out of bounds on the full, and so out on the full it is. And here is Joanna Lynn, who kicked 2 goals in that big win last week over North Melbourne. Like I mentioned, the go-ahead goal came in the dying embers of that match. This will take her best kick. She doesn't go for home. She wants to spot up the lead of her teammate who just spilt the mark. But here's an opportunity. Banging it on the boot and across the face of goal was Alyssa Bannon. And the Demons do get the first score of the afternoon. It's a minor one. Charged with the kick-in duties will be the long-sleeved Lauren Caruso. What a season she had last year and what a start to the season she's had in 2024. She'll play the broadcast side, kicks to the waiting pack. Mifsud was there, worked underneath it by McDonald. Mifsud came up with it anyway, worked it onto Seaton, and here is what Port Melbourne do best. They love to slingshot and go forward in a hurry. Reed's kick will clear the pack. Here's an opportunity for two Port Melbourne players that'll sit up for Molly Eastman, and it was brilliant defending at the last by the veteran Sophie Casey, who just did enough to put off Molly Eastman. And Eastman misses. That's how quickly Port Melbourne can get you on the sucker punch. And Casey will have to be alert to that today. Without doubt, Port Melbourne, the best transition team in the VFLW over the past 12 months. Here's Eastman again, who's held up in the tackle. And a ball up 50 metres from goal. Reed with another inside 50. That's a nice looking kick. Out comes Jessie Williams, presented well and then spilt the mark. Casey with some work to do. She's caught. Didn't release it legally, said the umpire. Pack forms quickly. And another forward stoppage here for the Borough. 30 metres out from goal. Did a lot of defending early. Now's their opportunity to try and hit the Demons where it hurts the most. Ball flopped out the side towards the pocket. Stella Reid and Ava Seaton both in there to tie it up. What a start to the season Ava Seaton has had for Port Melbourne, averaging 17 disposals and just under 5 clearances. Kicked her first goal last week. Here's McDonald of Casey, just rips it clear. Handball off to the running Bannon, who comes towards the broadcast wing. Beth Wilson ran right under it. Tegan Williams gets down low to pick it up for the Demons. Keeps the momentum going forward with the handball. Here's an opportunity for Morris, who's worked to the boundary line by Booth. Fairchild under some serious pressure, coughed it up. Borg bangs it down towards half forward. Bromwich leads Johnson to the football. Bromwich let it get behind, but backed up with a brilliant tackle. Ball jarred loose. Demons with good reinforcements back here. It wasn't a great handball from Phillips, but Fairchild is there. Kicks towards half back where a crucial mark is taken by Neve O'Neill, who kicked a couple of goals also in that big win over North Melbourne last week. Had she not held on to that mark, Port Melbourne was circling like sharks. Bacon couldn't take the intercept mark on the wing. Picking it up and coming cruising through was Gillard. McDonald. Now it's Rigoni, who I might have confused for Alyssa Bannon a moment ago. Kicks down towards the wing. Booth couldn't win it back for the Borough. Williams round the body, hooks it down towards half forward. Lynn presents and again can't quite hold on to the footy. Caruso bangs it towards the outer side. What a move by Byrne. Broke the ankles of the Port Melbourne player. Kicks into an open 50. Half a chance here for Madigan, who had to apply the tackle. Port Melbourne working overtime on the last line of defence. Here's Hartog, good releasing kick, and it's on the chest of Molly Eastman. That left half back for the Borough. They love to come inboard with the kicks when they get it in this area of the field. Here's Charlie Wicksteed, whose ball use last week was just magnificent. Can't find a target in the middle of the ground this time, and we're all tied up. Approaching the midway stages of the opening quarter, one behind apiece. A pretty open game of football. Both of these teams played in what you could describe as a congested matchups last week. Port Melbourne against Williamstown and Casey against North Melbourne. But this is a free-flowing affair. Here comes Caruso. Speaking of free-flowing, Lynn just got her kick under pressure. We just got Caruso's kick under pressure. The umpire says late contact on the kick, and so downfield it will go the way of Port Melbourne and the way of Jessie Williams. VFLW game number 49 today. Hits a good spot with the kick. Went over the head of Eastman. Bounces out into the pocket where it's trapped by Tyler Byrne. Again with the good evasive skills. Summed it up, and then the kick back towards the 50. Doesn't clear the area. And in fact, it's chopped off by Wicksteed. 50 out from goal. This will just be beyond it. So she wobbles one down towards full forward. It's knocked away from Patterson. Patterson didn't give up the chase, but then coughed it up to Sarah Lampard, one of 3 Melbourne Premiership players out there today. Her kick clears the area, but it's trapped by Caitlin O'Keefe. A beautiful kick back into the 50. And here is Jordan Mifsud, who's been kept out of the team the first few weeks with a hand fracture. And, well, they'll be expecting a little bit better from last year's Lambert Pierce medal winner. She's coughed it right up and kicked it straight to O'Neill. O'Neill goes out wide to Sophie Casey. And Melbourne will Casey I should say, will look to take a deep breath. Dana Smith couldn't pick it up cleanly on the half volley. It kicks to the relative sanctuary of the centre wing position. We're backing back and taking a terrific mark. Is Caitlin O'Keefe, I believe that is out there. Or Izzy Bacon, in fact. Kicks towards the half-forward line. A couple of high flyers. Stella Reid in amongst it. That's another inside 50 for Reid. Here comes Bromwich. Just got beaten by the bounce. Byrne, the first one there to get access for the Demons. It's a good handball to Olivia Morris, who comes right up the middle. That's a risky game to play against Port Melbourne. Coming out and meeting it, though, brilliantly for the Demons was Bannon. Handball to Casey, who tried to give it back to Bannon and handballed it right back into congestion. Jatzak couldn't pick it up. It's back in dispute in the middle of Casey Fields. Williams had it and lost it. Jatzak goes again. Sophie Casey bangs it into the 50. And playing the sweeping role back here is the brilliant Maggie McKellar, who celebrated her 21st birthday yesterday. I'd imagine it wasn't a big night for her out on the town with a game coming up the following day. Port Melbourne have done well to work their way through the Casey press, and here it is with Charlie Wicksteed. Played a handful of games on it, in her first season at Richmond. That kick came a cropper at half forward. Kirkwood kicks it back into the middle of Casey Fields, where she's forced to provide the contest. Molly Eastman tied up underneath all of that. In fact, it was Bella Clark. And away we go again with a repeat stoppage. Jatzak winning the hit out on that occasion. Tyler Byrne, the leading disposal getter on the ground at the moment, with 6. Lauren Caruso with 5. So the two half-back flankers at either end, the leading disposal getters on the ground. Meg McDonald and Sarah Lampard have 4 apiece for the D's. From the spillage, it's Fairchild, who was tackled by the ponytail. You don't need me to tell you that that's illegal. Meg McDonald, the beneficiary of the free kick, right alongside the centre circles. Another one that was with Richmond in the AFLW in the most recent season. Delisted and comes back to the Demons, where she was recruited from originally. Her kick to half forward marked by Jatzak. Goes looking for Alyssa Bannon, who got a little handsy with the high ball coming in. And a free kick on the last line of defence, going the way of Belinda Woolcock. Done well to limit Port Melbourne's marks around the ground. That's something that they'll have to do today, Casey, if they're any chance at winning. They're a high-volume kick-mark team, Port Melbourne, and you see it here. Stella Reid's had a very good first quarter for the Borough. Bites off an aggressive kick into the middle. It was too hot for Harley to handle. Gets back after at ground level and won it in the end. That's a brilliant kick. What great vision to find Nigeli Borg. Handball back to Reid. Reid will be happy to play straight line footy here, and again that supreme ball use that lands in the lap of Williams, and Port Melbourne can open them up here. Wide with the kick from Williams. Wilson took a little while to pick it up, and when she did, she blazed away and kicked it out of bounds on the full. Beth Wilson, who returned to the team last week, perhaps still a little rusty. The Demons take over in the left back pocket. With 6.5 minutes to play, still awaiting our first goal here at Casey Fields. Round 4 Rebel VFLW action. Casey looking to get back to 2-2. Port Melbourne looking to make it 4 wins in a row. The pack crashes. Ashley Cooper emerged with it. Hits a great spot with the kick. Demon defenders just do enough to bring it to ground. Madigan bumped off it by Eastman. It's there on the goal line. Eastman stood up in the tackle. They all pile in. Kirkwood's in there as well. And a ball up right in the shadows of the behind post, with Port Melbourne knocking on the door. Reid went in the ruck and lost out to Jatzak. Seaton tried to get a hurried kick away. Didn't get much on it. Harley was taken down by a couple of Demons, who both did well not to fall in the back of the Port Melbourne vice-captain. We continue to play on at the teeth of goal for Port Melbourne. Wotherspoon bangs it on the boot with no real direction. Morris spilt the mark. Madigan for the Demons. Kick out of the 50, and O'Neill was interfered with in the marking contest by Wilson. O'Neill spots a teammate right in the middle of Casey Fields. It's Lampard, and the Demons come right up the middle. Lampard with a one-on-one here. Zoe Mitchell brought it to ground. Fighting doggedly underneath for the Borough was McKellar. The umpire quickly in to call for another stoppage. Casey tried to move it quickly right up the guts. Just a couple of skill errors and a missed mark there from Zoe Mitchell, bringing them undone. Ashley Cooper bursts out the front of the stoppage. There's another pressured kick that gets Port Melbourne to half forward. Madigan played it well. Lily Johnson, a good handball to Lampard. Here go the Demons again, right up the corridor. McKellar, an outstanding defensive mark right at half-back for Port Melbourne. Had a quiet game last week against Williamstown, just the forward disposals. Comes right across the defensive side of the square where it's marked by Nigeli Borg, who had friends watching on last week in Mexico. Great tackle from Lynn. The handball from Borg didn't do Caruso any favours. Lynn causes the turnover and moves it on quickly a little too hurriedly. Well, the mark is dropped by Bacon, who has immediate pressure come for her. Williams a handball to Lynn, who just hurried the kick down towards the one-on-one contest at full forward. Off a couple of sets of hands and now racing onto the loose ball in the back 50. Was O'Keefe, or rather Booth it is, the debutant. Works a sloppy-looking handball to Borg. Back to her teammates, who goes right down the line. That was off the boot of Ashley Cooper. And it's a free kick going the way of Lily Johnson. Traded to Melbourne in the off-season from Port Adelaide. A couple of games for the Power in 2 seasons. Originally from Tasmania, her kicking board to Meg McDonald, who's been busy in the first quarter. Doing well to hold on to that mark is Lampard, who jumps up quickly and will spy the forward 50 for the Demons. It's a tumbly old kick into the 50 that was a finger breaker for Beth Wilson. Knocked away from her, off the deck went Wicksteed. Oh, Ashley Cooper a fumble. Might be a chance here for Gillard. Had to go down a long way, couldn't pick it up. And then emerging with it, Wicksteed. Kicks down towards half forward where Patterson won't mark, might have time to recover. Handball to Harley, who just worked the kick down towards the pocket. And now there's a race for the football. Getting there first was Byrne, wrapped up in the tackle by Harley. It was a great follow-up. Byrne goes again. Good kick finds Fairchild, and the Demons survive. As the sun pokes through at Casey Field, that's a rare sight out these parts. Fairchild takes her allotted time, and then a good kick, and it's marked by Tegan Williams with 2.5 to play in the opening quarter. Williams switches it inboard to Lampard. Demons have looked okay, bouncing off half-back. This is where they've been breaking down, so Bannon's going to try and run. The first bounce wasn't great. Kicks long towards full forward. Again, that was Rigoni and not Bannon. Trapped on the last line by McKellar. Handball out in front of Booth, who's going to take Rigoni on. She might be a little tired after that last venture forward. Kicks an untidy one. Here comes Zoe Mitchell for the Demons. Handball to Gillard, who just bangs a high kick back in towards the 50. Great mark by Georgia Gall, who did the early body use to get rid of McKellar. And the only issue here for Georgia Gall is that she might be outside her range. In the final 2 minutes of the first quarter, this is going to be Gall looking to spot up the leader. Bannon did well to trap it on the bounce. Handball to Kirkwood, who spots up a teammate. Mitchell's dropped another mark. Got onto the loose foot. He tried to break a tackle and couldn't. Umpire calls for a stoppage. 20 metres out from the Demons' goal. Hooked it on down from the ruck there. It was Williams. It's all Port Melbourne at the fall of it. Ashley Cooper off to Borg. Borg to the outer side. Bromwich hit it hard but couldn't mark. Hartog in the long sleeves a chance. Had it knocked away from her. Gillard, Wotherspoon through the hands of Fairchild. Here's Lampard again, who's been super in this quarter, as has Tyler Byrne. Goes out wide with the kick. She's overcooked it. It's over the head of Lynn and it will bounce out of play. And the Demons will have a forward 50 stoppage by way of a throw-in the final seconds of the opening quarter, in which it looks like, barring a quick play from the Demons, will go goalless. Tegan Williams and Beth Wilson ready themselves in the ruck. Demons have got to be clean and clinical from here. The bounce found its way to Byrne, who made a beeline for the football. Got good territory on the kick out of mid-air. Underneath it is Bacon for Port Melbourne. The Borough holding on desperately on the last line of defence. It spills the way of Clark. Toe pokes it off the deck and made it Hartog's problem. They tried to knock it on further afield to Williams. In goes Madigan. Or rather, it was Bannon. It's all tied up And it looks like we are going to go goalless for the opening quarter here at Casey Fields, but an open first quarter. One last clearing kick, and that'll do us. So scores will be level at the first change. Both teams showing some pretty good bounce off half back at times. It was a game that was played between the arcs for most of it. In the end, just about ready to go for the second quarter here at Casey Fields. Round 4 Rebel VFL women's action. Casey and Port Melbourne. And straight away it's going to be Port Melbourne bursting out of the middle through Seaton. A goalless first quarter, one behind a piece, as you can see on the scoreboard graphic. Brent Sternberg here with you on afl.com.au and via the AFL Live official app as well. Here comes Maddie Patterson. Couldn't take the towering mark at full forward, and the Demons should clear. A goalless first quarter, but a very open first term indeed as Port Melbourne continue the pressure here. Long out into the pocket, reaching for it was Rigoni. Eventually she gathers the ground ball and her left foot kick out of the 50. Well, it worked a treat. Coming out to take the mark on the lead was Joanna Lynn. A very open first quarter, as I've mentioned a couple of times. 12 inside 50s to 8s in favour of the Demons. So 20 inside 50s in one quarter in a VFLW game. That tells you that the ball's ping-ponging from one end to the other. Both teams just breaking down a little bit up ahead as Byrne has had her kick smothered. Leads all comers on the ground with 9 disposals. That one was probably her worst. Lampard beaten to it by Mifsud. Worked the handball out in front of Jessie Williams, who was the late in today. She's wrapped up and taken down by Madigan. And a sensational tackle from Delaney Madigan, pick number 55 in the draft back in December. So it will be her first AFLW season coming up. Swings it out to one of the other draftees in Wotherspoon, up towards half forward, and here's Gall. And the Demons in a heartbeat have gone from half back to half forward. Gall's going to look to honour the lead of Bannon. Couldn't quite take the mark. Her opponent slipped over. Bannon trying to knock it back in board, but that's where Port Melbourne had the numbers. Bacon couldn't pick it up. McKellar does. Handball missed Hartog. Gall another opportunity here. Mifsud climbs in over the top to tie it up. And I fancy we'll get a stoppage. The ball jarred free momentarily. Dragged back in by one of the blondies in there. That was a pack of blondies. And we'll get a ball up. Port Melbourne looking to start their premiership defence with 4 straight victories. Casey looking to get their second win of the season. They're 1-2. A win over North Melbourne last week. Losses to Box Hill and the Western Bulldogs prior to that. Here's O'Neill, who just muscled her way through. Unloads from 30 out on the run. Couldn't get that one to come back on the breeze, although I must confess there's not too much of a breeze here today at Casey Fields. Certainly not anything that is favouring either end. Not like we often get out at this ground. The first score of the second is a minor one for the Demons. Caruso with the kick-in duties, and that's why it's a ripper. Right up towards centre half back and into the arms of Eloise Ashley Cooper, the former Bomber. Kicks towards the outer side. Wasn't a great kick, but making it look a lot better there was Jemima Woods, who flings the handball back in board. It came unstuck and it's taken away by Wotherspoon. Out to Tyler Byrne, who is really giving the Borough side heartburn in the first half. Kick towards the ankles there of Gall. McKellar's in there, Booth as well. Umpire sees enough to warrant a stoppage. Tyler Byrne up to 10 disposals now. I really liked what she did in the defensive 50 last week for the Demons in that win over North Melbourne. Has been repurposed this season from a small forward to a small defender. Wotherspoon whacks it on the boots. Couldn't get a clear run on it there, Bannon. Eventually got the handball to Morris. It's around the body. It's an open goal square, but the reinforcements are back there for the Borough. And Isabel Bacon takes the mark right on the last line of defence. Turned 19 on Thursday. One of quite a few players in this match today that have celebrated birthdays recently. Again, Port Melbourne, well, almost muck it up at the half-back line. Mifsud toe poked it forward. Woods under serious heat. Handball out here towards Wicksteed, who had to get on her bike. Hooks it back around on the right boot and then landed right on the lap of Stella Reid, who comes up and takes the mark. But she'll look up ahead and see not much in the forward half for Port Melbourne. Inboard comes the kick. Casey couldn't break it up, but she got an arm chop. Umpire right there to see it. Sophie Casey with the free kick. Works a little one inboard to Lampard, who will be up for disposal. Number 9 here runs right past the player on the mark. Had a bounce, arrogantly so. Long towards Gillard at full forward, or Gall it might have been. Over the shoulder free kick. Going against Maggie McKellar, who just got a little bit panicky with the long ball incoming. And here is an opportunity for Georgia Gall, who turns her back on the goal. 30 metres out, just away to the right. And this is probably the best look the Demons have had so far, or either side for that matter. In for her first VFLW game of the season. 2 games in 2 seasons for the Demons. Long left foot kick normally, and makes no mistake here. So the Demons draw first blood at Casey Fields. 5.5 minutes into the second quarter. And you can't say that they don't deserve that goal. They have been terrific through the opening quarter and a bit here at home. Georgia Gall into the side today. Breaks the deadlock. And the Demons skip along to 1-2-8. And Port Melbourne just the one behind. And that is Georgia Gall's 4th goal at this level. Selected in the 2022 AFLW draft, a cross-coder from cricket. You might remember her suiting up for the Melbourne Stars in the Women's Big Bash League. Now on Melbourne's AFLW list. The Demons strike first at Casey Fields. And Jatzak took it out of the ruck and then had it knocked out of her hands. Wicksteed did really well in the tackle, got the handball back to Wilson, who heads towards half forward. And a good mark taken by Eastman out in front of her eyeballs. Port Melbourne looking for a rapid-fire response into the 50. Rigoni with the one hand couldn't complete the mark. Trying to win it at ground level, but was hurried out of it. Meg McDonald fights the fight for the Demons, but left it behind. Ashley Cooper taken down by Byrne. Port Melbourne clear the area. Kick around the body came from Eastman out towards Courtney Bromwich, who was worked under it expertly well by Fairchild. Fairchild's handball hits the boundary line. Rigoni would do well to see it out, and she does. And a ball in with Port Melbourne into attack. Courtney Bromwich, the only player in the first quarter not to get a disposal. Another player who has changed positions this season with all the talent coming in the door. The midfield talent has moved up into the forward line, kicked the goal last week. Here she is, her first disposal. Goes back in towards the hot spot for the Demons, or for the Borough I should say. Johnston for the Demons. That's Lily out to Fairchild and then links it up with Rigoni, who runs through half back, and her kick coming out ain't good. Caruso cuts it off. But they're doing some really nice things here, the Demons. This is as well as they could have started, as well as they could have hoped anyway. Caruso with McKellar. And McKellar now back to Woolcock, who burns off one. It's a hurried kick into the 50, and Jatzak, one of the Demons' promising young players, takes the mark in the defensive 50. If you could have told the Demons that they'd keep Port Melbourne goalless to the halfway mark of the second quarter, they certainly would have taken it. The link-up play is broken down in neutral territory on the outer side. Lynn worked it back to Byrne. That's a good spoil in there by Booth, but the Demons have all the numbers. Casey delayed the handball, and then the kick was a ripper into the 50. It's marked by O'Neill, who will see the outnumber up ahead. Handball to Dana Smith. That's not a good kick from Dana Smith. And going in to take the mark low down on the last line was Maggie McKellar. Just had to think her way through that a little bit more, Dana Smith. Good pressure by the player on the mark there for the Demons. Port should be able to find their way out. Hartog links it up with Eastman. Comes out very, very wide with the kick. Rigoni worked her teammate underneath it. That was Ava Seaton, who eventually came up with the football anyway. And then her kick went looking for Madeline Patterson, but cutting across bravely was Riley Wotherspoon to take the mark for the D's. She kicks towards O'Neill, all alone at the top of the 50. O'Neill plays on. Borks one, ran a long way. Left foot kick down towards the top of the goal square. Out the back it goes. McKellar will beat Gall to the footy. Works a handball out in front of Caruso, who can't afford to fumble, and she doesn't. Arches the back and runs away from Joanna Lynn. Kicks into the middle of the ground. Lily Johnson with the spoil. Comes to the front of the pack. Johnson tapped it on beautifully to Morris. The Demons back into attack. Williams trapped it beautifully on the bounce. Demons. Looks around for support. Her handball went looking for Fairchild, who overcommitted. Hartog in on the tackle. Port Melbourne, all elbows to the wheel now. A ball up, 35 out from goal. And the Demons are just irresistible at the moment. Only one goal on the board. But they're looking much the better team as we hit the midway mark of the second term. Here's Bella Clark. Looked around for options and they all dried up in front of her. Hartog with the kick to the outer side. Bromwich not paid the mark. Handball to Williams. Williams now gets around Lily Johnson. Her kick out wide. Looking for Patterson, who slipped over. Oh, look out. Wotherspoon hunted and caught. Holding the ball. Stella Reid, a big moment. Trying to lift her Borough side. And it's going to be 50 as well. Ball wasn't given back on the full by Wotherspoon. That's a silly error to make when they've got the reigning champions on the ropes. And Stella Reid, who's been in great goal-kicking form, no player on the mark, so Stella Reid goes long to the goal line. Well done, Ragoni. Right on the line, gets a fingernail on it. And saves what would have been Port Melbourne's first goal of the day. Instead, it's their third behind. Demons from the kick in, looking for Fairchild. Great anticipation there from Bromwich, who come from a long way to cut it off. And half the contest and see it out of play. It'll be tossed in, 35 around. Tyler Byrne up to 12 disposals for the Demons. Wicksteed and McCallum for Port Melbourne with 9. Lampard with 9 as well. Umpire hoists it back in. Gillard just thumps it away. Morris, gang tackled. Dropped the footy. Mifsud gets onto the loose ball. Burns got her. It's a good tackle by Tyler Byrne. She's well and truly outsized in that particular contest. Mifsud couldn't shake the tackle. Casey 1-2-8. Port Melbourne 2 behinds. I thought that was their third behind a moment ago. Just their second. Back into the 50 now. Go the Borough. Johnson. A reluctant handball. And then a tumbling kick came out of the 50 and landed fortuitously on the chest of Mitchell, whose first inkling was to go inboard. Now goes down the line. Jatzak was put off by Joanna Lynn. A little toe poke forward from the Borough. The Demons have it again. Casey to McDonald and then Morris, who's charged down by Mifsud, who's trying to get them going. Everything coming up the way of the Demons. Lean off to Mitchell. Long left foot kick into the 50. Out in front of Tegan Williams, who's got Woolcock, her former teammate for company. Woolcock takes the footy and runs through half back for the Borough. Long kick to the outer side. Straight through the hands of Patterson. The Demons again feasting on the turnovers. Sloppy handball looking for Mitchell, who slipped over and then was jumped on unceremoniously by Bella Clark, and a free kick for in the back, says the umpire. Mitchell spreads the kick inboard. Johnson left it behind. Bromwich arrives on the scene. That's not a good kick. It's a turnover. And it lands in the lap of Megan McDonald, the captain, who says, let's just chill out here for a little bit. They sit on a 6-point lead, the Demons. That is a thumping kick from McDonald. It clears the pack. O'Neill comes across for the Demons. McCallum stood her ground. And a little shake and bake and then a kick out of the defensive 50. Little hop there for Wicksteed to gather. Smith's handball didn't really achieve much for the Demons. Lampard did well to work the kick back to Morris. Bangs one back down towards full forward. Jatzak kept it away from McCallum. Bulgard free in the tackle. Lynn threatens for the Demons. Lynn worked a kick around the body. Couldn't get it back goalward bound. It spills out into the pocket. And Caruso's there to see it out of play. Casey just threatening here to find their second goal. And to be fair, Port Melbourne not really able to get their run and gun football happening in this second term, or at all in this first half, to be honest with you. Their back line is working overtime. O'Keefe all had one arm pinned and threw it away right under the nose of the umpire, who sweeps the arms and says holding the ball. And it comes up here with Olivia Morris, who will line up right from where Georgia Gall kicked the only goal of the game so far. Maybe a little bit better of an angle. Olivia Morris with an opportunity here to give the Demons a nice little 12-point lead. Short run up, but effective. It's a goal. Olivia Morris with her first VFLW snag, and they all get around her, and the Demons at Casey Fields skip away. Born out of that trademark forward pressure, Morris kicks the goal. The Demons have a 12-point lead, and the Borough have some problems as we head for the final 5.5 minutes in the second quarter here. Casey 2-2-14, Port Melbourne 0-2. Making a lot of uncharacteristic errors. The ladies from North Port Oval. This is by far and away the biggest deficit that they've faced so far this season. We're underway again in the middle. There was no way out of there for Ava Seaton. Caitlin O'Keefe rather gives the football back to the umpire. Bella Clark goes into the ruck for Port Melbourne. Outsized against Talia Gillard, but she won the hit out. And a repeat stoppage just forward of centre for the Borough. Gillard wins that hit out, or straight down towards Bacon, who was trying to crash her way through. A great second effort by the ruck for Casey. Talia Gillard, who wins it back. Kick out a bit too much on it though for Lynn. Clark with an expansive handball to the outer side. Seaton will turn and look up the outer wing. Kirkwood going across bravely, but couldn't stop Stella Reid from taking the mark, who turns quickly on the left and looks for Harley. The ball bounces away from her, but goes into the 50. What a pick-up from Lily Johnson. And a releasing handball to Wotherspoon and kick towards the outer side, and the mark is taken by Kirkwood. The Demons have all the answers at Casey Fields. 4 minutes to play in the second term. Kirkwood takes a deep breath. Honours the lead here of McDonald, the former captain to the currents. On to Morris, the most recent goal kicker, and the field opens up ahead of her. Trying to close down the space, Smithson. Handball inboard to Lampard, who just had to release it. Down goes Gillard, and she will happily see this one all tied up in the tackle of Patterson. And a ball up back in neutral territory at Casey Fields. Casey, with each passing moment, is smelling another upset. Woods' kick went off the side of the boot and into the defensive 50. Woolcock is there to try and fix a broken play. Handball back to Woods. Kicks to the outer side. Reed's going to have to come across here and wrap up Lampard. She gets a bit of support in Seaton. They ask the question, and the question is answered with holding the ball. Stella Reid coming up from her half-forward post to win a free kick for the Borough. Her kick goes down towards the paint of 50. Well done, Patterson, to keep the footy alive and then go off the ground and get it inside 50. And of course, if that had happened between the arcs, that would have been a turnover for last disposal out of bounds. Goes out of play inside the 50, and so it's a throw in. Demons by 12 points. Port Melbourne would love to pinch a goal against the run of play here in the closing minutes of the second quarter. O'Keefe couldn't pick it up. By the time she took possession, she worked it out towards Cooper. Sidesteps one, tumbles one down towards full forward. Knocked away by Phillips on the boundary line. Emily Harley's gone off the deck as she was falling away, and that wasn't that far away, you know. Through for a minor score, and that is Port Melbourne's third minor of the quarter. 0-3 they trail Casey 2-2-14. The Demons will navigate the final 2 minutes of the quarter, starting with a kick in. It comes long to the near side. In the middle of the pack, standing her ground was Mifsud. 50 metres out from goal, looking for and finding Stella Reid on a commanding mark. 35 out from goal. And her teammates will know that she's got the journey. I mentioned she's been in great goal-kicking form so far. She's kicked 4 goals straight on the season. Kicked 3 goals in the win over Collingwood a fortnight ago. Jumps into the kick, sends it on its way. It holds the line, but it's touched and knocked through by the tallest player out there today, Talia Gillard, or 190 centimetres of her was required there. Port Melbourne with its 4th behind. Trailing by 10 points, very, very wide from the kick-in. Wotherspoon was there and took the mark cleanly with one grab, which was crucial. Goes with the short kick down the line. A bump ball for O'Neill, who's under pressure. She's got Lampard in support. Off to Johnson, and now to the running Tyler Byrne. Maybe a chance for Casey to hit on the sucker punch. Good mark taken down the line by Gillard, or Gall rather. turns onto the left boot, kicks into the 50. Bannon had good position in front. We'll look up to the goal square and see Joanna Lynn. Has Mitchell a little shorter. Also has O'Neill hiding in a pocket of space. And Sean Bunkle, the Port Melbourne coach, will be furious at that. And Neve O'Neill will line up for the final look at goal right on the halftime siren. Brilliant play from the Demons. One end to the other. It was Port Melbourne-esque. And now Neve O'Neill to heap a whole lot of pain on Port Melbourne. Right on half-time. Right to the line. Did it clear the line? It did. Right on the half-time siren. And that is the correct score. The Demons lead the reigning premiers Port Melbourne by 16 points at half-time. And we may have a little bit of history repeating here because it was in the final round of last season, you might remember, when the Demons did exactly this. They upset Port Melbourne. That game at Trevor Barker Beach Oval. Port Melbourne would go on to win the flag 4 weeks later, but the Demons caused them all sorts of trouble, and they have in the first half here at Casey Fields as well. Brent Sternberg is my name. You're watching on afl.com.au and on the AFL Live official app as well. We are underway for the third quarter, I should say. Williams brings Port Melbourne down towards the half-forward line. They have a free kick going the way of Caitlin O'Keefe, who is one of the players that has to lift. Oh, Johnson didn't give the football back on the full. That's the second 50-metre penalty of this match. And just as I was about to say, Caitlin O'Keefe has to lift. She's only had 2 disposals to this game. And she's going to have the perfect opportunity here to kick Port Melbourne's first goal of the match. And this would have to be seriously frustrating for Casey coach Matt Brewer. Casey all over the Demons, really. And after a 50-metre penalty, Caitlin O'Keefe kicks the goal. And the Borough strike in the first 90 seconds of the third quarter. And that could be the spark that leads to this game turning around for the reigning premiers, who were well and truly outplayed in that first half. And that's just how they would have wanted this second half to begin, with an early goal. Lily Johnson with a bit of a lapse in concentration and poor discipline. Not giving the ball back on the full. That's the second 50 we've had in this game due to that exact crime. Port Melbourne have the early goal, 1-4-10. They are trailing the Demons 3-2-20. So the margin is back to 10 points, but the Demons come out of the middle from the restart. McDonald to Lampard, kicks up towards half forward. We're trailing in behind was Williams, who gave them a good focal point in the forward line in the first half. Tegan Williams. They scrub the ball into the 50. Here comes Bacon, dispossessed in the tackle of Zoe Mitchell and holding the ball. And it's another 50, is it? No, it's going the other way. Did the umpire say? No, it is a 50-metre penalty. So the third one of the match and the second in about a minute. Ball not being given back on the full, and Zoe Mitchell will be walked to the goal line. And Casey are going to have the instant reply. Zoe Mitchell trots in, puts it through, and the 16-point margin is re-established in a heartbeat. And a frustrating start to the third quarter for both coaches. Zoe Mitchell kicks her second goal of the season, the 8th of her VFLW career. Casey 4-2-26, Port Melbourne 1-4-10. So a lively start to the premiership quarter, if not an ill-disciplined start from both teams. I was going to mention Port Melbourne lost just 2 of their previous third quarters, 14 third quarters coming into the match. Sorry, of the 14 quarters that they've played, they've lost only 2. That's now 3. As there's good work here from the free kick. Jessie Williams spears one into half forward where Harley comes out at the stretch and marks. All being asked to come back on the mark was Madigan. Umpire gave her a bit of leeway. Harley dumps the kick short to half forward for Seaton. Seaton at the top of the 50. Long probing kick towards O'Keefe, who come careening out of the goal square and spilt the mark. Fairchild on the last line. Off to Casey. Hurried, dangerous kick, but Wotherspoon in front takes a good mark. Look to play on. Works the kick towards the outer side, where the Demons were outnumbered. Boundary line lurks. Caruso in over the top. She's wrapped up. Tyler Burns in there too. Leads all comers on the ground. Led all comers on the ground at halftime, I should say, with 13 disposals. Sarah Lampard's now gone past her with 15. So, yeah, that was just the third quarter that Port Melbourne has lost this season. They had played 14. Casey kicking all 3 goals in that second term. We've had 2 already in the third, 1 apiece. Port Melbourne looking a little bit livelier as O'Keefe receives the handball. That's a better kick going forward. Reid takes the mark. She got late contact, and the umpire showing absolutely no charity at all, and that will walk Stella Reid to the goal line. And all 3 goals we've had in the 5.5 minutes in this third term have come by way of a 50-metre penalty. Stella Reid has 4 goals on the season. She now has 5. And it's goal for goal at Casey Fields. Albeit under strange circumstances. Stella Reid kicks Port Melbourne second, 2-4-16. They trail Casey 4-2-26. And this might just be a matter of which team is going to be able to keep their cool and hold their discipline as well in the second half. One thing that Casey did really well in that first half was they limited Port Melbourne's kick marking game. They took 9 more marks than the Borough in that first half. Port Melbourne, through the first 3 rounds, had taken 63 more marks than their opponents. So as far as the first half is concerned, the game was played out on Casey's terms, but Port Melbourne are starting to lift. What a kick out of the middle from Wicksteed. And out of the goal square comes O'Keefe, who's been a live wire to start this third quarter. Had 2 disposals in the first half. Goes towards the unguarded goal square. It takes a Port Melbourne bounce. Stays alive. Hurried kick away. Was a little bit fortuitous for the Demons. Lampard takes the mark and moves it on to half back, where it's with Gillard. She moves it down towards Zoe Mitchell over her head. Williams just had to handball it away. She was confronted. Caruso gets there for the Borough. Worked a funny little handball that was ineffective. Goes back in to try and fly the flag for Port Melbourne. She's dispossessed in the Zoe Mitchell tackle, and the Demons take the advantage. Bannon with the long flowing locks. Handball to Gillard. Shapes the left foot kick towards Lynn at the top of the goal square. Didn't quite get there on the full. Ball spills free. Gall this time. Her kick is smothered. Port Melbourne quick to get back. McKellar couldn't take possession. Tried to knock it to Hartog. Hartog might have been taken high. Umpire allowed it. Ball up 20 metres out from goal. The Demons in attack. You can already sense the urgency in this Port Melbourne team. Trying to work their way back into the match. Well done, Ashley Cooper. Beeline the footy. Exits the 50 with the kick. Madigan there goes to battle with Jemima Woods, who gets on the end of the handball from her teammate. Wasn't a great kick up the outer wing. Phillips and Patterson. Patterson gets there first. Phillips was willing and ready to apply the tackle and lock it up on the outer side. As both teams swing the changes, Beth Wilson comes for a spell for Port Melbourne. Dana Smith does the same for the Demons. 3 goals in this third quarter already. If you joined us late from your half-time cup of tea, you've missed quite a bit. 4-2-26 plays 2-4-16. Zoe Mitchell kicking towards her teammate in Lynn. Port Melbourne break it up. The ball jars free. Woods taken immediately in the tackle of Tegan Williams. And the Demons move it incrementally down the outer wing. Port Melbourne yet to suffer defeat this season, looking to make it 4 wins in a row, looking to make it 7 in a row, dating back to last season. They would equal their longest ever winning streak if they were to do so today, but they're getting all they can handle from the Demons this afternoon as Wotherspoon's rushed kick forward is intercepted by Nigeli Borg. 9 minutes played already in this frantic third quarter. Borg into the middle, not a good kick. Morris, who is one of the Demons' goal kickers today, takes the mark and heads in towards O'Neill, who kicked that big goal on half-time. She's got a thumping left boot, O'Neill, but she stabs this one for Lynn, who this time takes the mark, falling to ground. She might have hit her head on the way down as well. She's a little slow to pick herself up, Joanna Lynn, who I don't think will be within her range here. The former Collingwood AFLW player. So he's going to look for the lead. Well, she had the lead. Hartog got in the road and broke it up when she maybe could have marked it. Port Melbourne quick to close on in. Booth was there. Caruso as well. A stoppage inside the forward 50 for the Demons under grey and gloomy skies out here at Casey Fields today. Lynn sharked the hit out, tried to get the handball free. She had support. Port Melbourne come away with it. All Booth. That's a very dangerous kick. Morris gets out after the footy in the pocket. Needs it to sit for her, and in time it does. High ball back to the top of the goal square. Over the top went McKellar. Brought it to ground. Hartog races back to the last line and wins it back for the Borough. And it's a brilliant kick out wide. Nigeli Borg takes the mark. And a cool steady head in the back line for the red and blue of Port Melbourne. Patterson maybe unlucky not to get a free kick. Demons drive it back into the 50. But the Demons the Borough I should say, were well set up. And Georgia Booth on VFLW debut takes another nice mark. She wants to work the switch here. It's not really open, but it is a good kick. Over the head of Morris this time. Ashley Cooper on the paint of the defensive 50 for Port Melbourne. In game number 51. The overlap run came from behind. It was Bacon. Bacon turns it over. Looking for Wicksteed. O'Neill marked and then played on. And she'll live to regret that. Good mark from Wicksteed. Harley takes the advantage. It's a game of turnover. Lampard took it and gave it quickly by hand to McDonald. McDonald goes looking for Lynn. It's a beautiful kick. Lynn comes out and takes another mark. She's getting dangerous in the forward 50 for the Demons. Again, too far out to score. A lot of movement ahead. She goes sideways for now. Burns spilt the mark. Should have time to recover. Fights off one. Spears the kick in towards Williams. Williams picked up the loose ball. Bouncing ball to the goal square. Overrunning it there might have been McKellar. Williams paddled it back to Morris. Morris under siege. It's a hot footy. On the last line of defence for Port Melbourne. It's a free kick for in the back. And it's going the Demons' way. Felt like somebody was going to make the wrong decision there, and it was the defender for Port Melbourne, Charlie Wicksteed, and here it is in the hands of Alyssa Bannon. Her 22nd birthday today, into the team for her second VFLW game of the season. Will run around, bend it through. That is magnificent from Alyssa Bannon. The birthday special. And the Demons' 16-point lead is restored. Bannon's 14th goal at this level in just game number 10. We know what a wonderful player she is at AFLW level. There'll be a milestone coming her way in the early stages of AFLW Season 9. 48 AFLW games. Hard to believe she's been around for that long, but she thought her way through that brilliantly. A bit of AFLW cream coming to the top there. The Demons have their 5th goal, 5-2-32. They lead Port Melbourne 2-4-16. And Matt Brewer's ladies have steadied beautifully with 7 minutes to play in this quarter. Wilson and Jatzak in the ruck. Jatzak tried to take it out of the ruck, eventually did. Handball to McDonald. It's another fast break out of the middle. Burns right past Mifsud, sends the Demons forward again. Booth and Williams wrestling. Here comes Maggie McKellar. Ran into Zoe Mitchell, had to give it off by hand to Caruso. It's in good hands. Caruso kicks it down towards the wing position on the outer side. Through the fingertips of Seaton. Bang, down goes Madigan in the gang tackle. Umpire calls for a ball up, centre wing outer side. The Demons with 5 individual goal kickers. Port Melbourne with 2. 16 points adrift of the Demons, who are coming forward through Jatzak, who's getting on top in the middle. Intended target there of Zoe Mitchell, who fell over. Booth has given the Borough some spring off half-back. Ran her full measure and didn't get an opportunity to steady. Mifsud tried her hardest to keep the football in the field of play. Unsuccessful. And we'll have it tossed in right underneath the scoreboard on the far side. Casey haven't been a great third quarter team this year. Won just 1 of 3. Port Melbourne won all 3. Lost, I should say, Port Melbourne, only 2 of 12 quarters coming into today. Free kick in the ruck going the way of Jatzak. Not a great kick in towards McDonald. Going in low was Seaton, has to apply the tackle on O'Neill. Got some help from Bacon. And another stoppage in shoes. 5.5 to play in this third quarter that's gone up a notch. Didn't have any goals in the first quarter. It was 1 behind a piece at quarter time. Casey kicked all 3 goals to half time in the second quarter. Port Melbourne have kicked 2, as have the Demons in this third quarter. That's a great tackle in the middle of Casey Fields by Jemima Woods, who will now not ready herself for the ruck contest. It'll be Jatzak and Wilson. Jatzak down to McDonald. Handball to Casey, was in close confines. Another gang tackle. And Ava Seaton, I think that is, who landed heavily in that last scrimmage, has come up a little worse for wear. She's okay, the first-year player out of the University of Queensland. Byrne did it really well, knocked it to her own advantage, not once but twice. Her kick brings the Demons into the 50. It clean bowled a couple. Hartog got to keep their head. Handball to McKellar on the last line. It'll be coming back, I think, for late contact on Izzy Hartog, who will take the free kick right at full back for Port Melbourne, who you fancy probably need the next goal in this game. Gee, Hartog entrusted a lot in her teammate on the far side there in Bacon. Couldn't take the mark and now fights for it at ground level, right under the nose of the umpire, who didn't want to ping Izzy Bacon for diving on the football and a ball up. Lampard and Gillard have just come on the bench for the Demons. They're trying hard to get over to this stoppage. Umpire won't wait for them. McDonald to O'Neill. Left foot kick out into the pocket. Lynn with the fingertipper, couldn't hold on, but worked to kick back towards the goal mouth. And it trickles away from McKellar and out of bounds right next to the behind post. Port Melbourne, the defending champs, just holding on here. Down by 16 points. Casey asking the question. Forward 50 stoppage. Jatzak hooks it out the back. Mifsud couldn't find it. Ashley Cooper did, Rad head first into Talia Gillard. And all they did there, the Burrows earned themselves maybe 15 metres. 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. Casey 5, 2:32. Port Melbourne 2-4-16. High in the ruck there was Wilson. Errant handball forward from the Demons. Hartog surely pushed in the back from Lynn. And Hartog will earn themselves another free kick. There's a little going on in the aftermath. Hartog again wants to play the outer side. Again, it's not a great kick. Over the head of Wilson. Burns onto it. Kicks out wide into the pocket. Caruso in front of Zoe Mitchell. McKellar buffered it off it. Mitchell kept her feet, and that was important. Screws the kick back to the hot spot. Here comes Joanna Lynn. Got a handle on the football. Decides against giving it to McDonald. Instead gave it to Lampard, who balked one. Handball back to McDonald. Hooks the body, around the body I should say, back across the face of goal. It's offline. And it bounces on through for a minor score. Casey 5-3, 33. Stretched the lead to 17. Port Melbourne 2-4-16. Into red time in the third quarter, the final 2 minutes. The Borough having some real difficulty getting it out of their back 50. Caruso short, inbound from the kick in. It's in the hands of Bacon, who assesses her options. Looks to the outer side, will take on Bannon on the mark. That is very ambitious. Kicks into the middle. Madigan attacked it but spilt the mark. Port Melbourne at ground level. Harley couldn't pick it up. Handball came out the way of Lampard, who busts on through. Lace out into the 50 onto the chest of her teammates. Talia Gillard. Well, Gall it is again. Didn't get far enough off the mark. Kicked it into Caruso. Had another go. Hartog didn't keep it in front of her. Here comes Bannon. Wheeling. Dancing round one. Round the body for her second. It's an open goal square. Oh, McKellar beaten by the bounce. And Bannon has her second. And the Demons lead by 23. McKellar on the goal line. Didn't expect the ball to pop up like that. Lucks a fortune a little for Alyssa Bannon. That's the kind of luck you get on your birthday, I suppose. She's got 2 in this quarter. And the Demons have a game-high lead of 23 points as we head for three-quarter time. And that's exactly what the Borough didn't need. 6-3-39 is Casey. Port Melbourne 2-4-16. And they will have that sinking feeling as they get ready to head to the three-quarter time huddle. 3-goal third quarter for the Demons. A 2-goal third quarter for Port Melbourne. So the Demons are going to win this quarter as well. And then are going to take a very handy lead into the final change. And this might be a good time to let you know that in their previous 50 VFLW games, Port Melbourne have never come from behind at the final change to win. They're going to have to do that today to avoid one of the upsets of the season. What a performance. And Casey staring one of the big upsets of 2024 in the face. Brent Sternberg here with you on afl.com.au and via the official app as well. Casey, 23 points to the good of Port Melbourne as we're underway in the final term. 6-3-39, plays 2-4-16. This would have to be one hell of a turnaround if Port Melbourne are to keep their winning streak alive here. They get a free kick and go forward, but it's beautifully intercepted by Jatsak, who comes out wide to Mitchell. The umpire paid the mark and then changed his mind. Mitchell had to play on. Hartog put their head in harm's way. Took a really brave mark. Out to Caruso, who hasn't had the influence on this match that she might have liked. They haven't had the corridor available to them today. The Demons have closed it well. Ashley Cooper to Wicksteed. And Wicksteed just a little hesitant in the kick. Jatsak with the spoil in it. Come back to Ashley Cooper. Oh, Seaton had it knocked out of her hands. Swooping in ball, good handball. Wicksteed bounces it into the 50. What a trap from Harley. And then on the turn, kicks it long down towards full forward. Patterson just did enough with the spoil. Red and blue reinforcements back, though, of the Casey variety. Fairchild to Johnson, who's confronted by Williams. Williams might cause the turnover. Pops up with the football. Turns for home. Check side. Couldn't get it goalward bound. That would have been the dream start for Port Melbourne. You get the feel. Need to basically kick all of the goals we're going to see in this final quarter. 23 points is already a big enough ask without conceding another. As the kick-in comes the way of Tyler Byrne, who will come up for disposal number 18. Sarah Lampard leads all comers with 20. Lampard with 18 now. Meg McDonald with 17 and Joanna Lynn with 16 have really come into the game in that third quarter. It's a turnover on the way out. Ashley Cooper to Seaton, long towards the goal mouth that just eludes O'Keefe, I should say. Fairchild races back to lend a hand on the last line, works it out into the pocket. That's where O'Keefe is wrapped up. And the umpire comes over and we'll have a stoppage of some sort. It's a ball up. Port Melbourne have it up their end, but they can't muck around in this quarter. Oh, now Phillips went alone at the ruck contest. Patterson kept it in. Harley from the tightest of angles kicks one of the goals of the season. And if anything is going to lift them, it's a peach like that from the vice-captain. The goal of the day, to be sure. And Port Melbourne have the all-important first goal of the final term. And the margin is back to 16. And for Emily Harley, that is now 6 goals straight on the season. I want to say she can't miss from anywhere. What a ripper from the paint of the boundary line. One of the most difficult grounds in all of the Victorian Football League to kick goals at from the tight angles. What a pleasure that must have been for the goal umpire to see that one come and just float right over his hat. Emily Harley kicks Port Melbourne's third goal of the game, and they will still believe the Borough. Gillard's in the ruck for the Demons. Didn't get too much on the kick. Burns gone on ball for Casey. O'Neill comes up from the half-forward line. Knocks it out the way of Byrne, and now crashing on through is Lampard and breaks on through to the other side. Kicks into the 50. Bouncing ball, eluded goal, but it's picked up by Smith. This for the immediate response. It's goalward bound. It's there. Brilliant body use on the line from Bannon to get McKellar out of the equation. And what a fight back from the Demons. Just kept moving the footy forward at all costs. Dana Smith bobs up with her first VFLW goal in game number 24. And try as they might, Port Melbourne just can't get on a run. 7-3-45, KC Port Melbourne 3-5-23. And the margin is back out to 22. That's really going to test the psyche of the defending premiers now. A brilliant goal from Emily Harley, quashed within a matter of seconds. We fight again for it in the middle. Gillard is wrapped up in the tackle of Woolcock. Didn't get too far from the restart. Wilson flies high, hooked it on down to Ashley Cooper, to Woolcock. Ashley Cooper's been pinged for a throw. Free kick for the Demons. Here goes Lampard again. Most things that have happened for the Demons today have started off her boot. It's disposal number 22. Clark gets onto the footy in the back line, kicks very, very wide. Woods did manage to keep it in, but that allowed Johnson to wrap her up. A pack forms quickly. The ball does come free. Umpire has a long look. Quick kick out of there from the Demons. Smith traps it outside of the boot and back into the 50. Here's Alyssa Bannon, who's got two. Great handball back inboard to O'Neill. Ran into a dead end. Had to give it back to her teammate in Lynn. Goes to the goal square. Playing on the last line was Williams. Tries to link it up with Bacon. Nothing's been really easy for Port Melbourne today, though. Bacon clears the defensive 50. Woods gathers it, twisting and turning. Doesn't see a whole lot she likes on the outer side, so kicks for territory. Reed got a rotten bounce. Kirkwood just got a handball away. Lynn arrives on the scene. Gillard's kick charged down by Bromwich. Off the deck goes Reed. Lucks a fortune for the Borough. Eastman was there. Right spot, right time. Balks a tackle. Kicks into the 50 for Port Melbourne. Lampard is here, there and everywhere though. Handball to Phillips and then to Rigoni, who was set upon immediately by Bromwich. And Port Melbourne, the best they can do is settle for a stoppage inside the attacking arc. 6.5 minutes have ticked on by in the final quarter. 20-minute flat quarters in the VFLW for those that aren't aware. They can get away from you quickly as Wotherspoon gets away from Woolcock here. Kicks into the middle beautifully. O'Neill spent the mark before she had it, but she played on. Worked a kick into an open 50. Williams was led to the football by McKellar, who holds the fort for one final time for Port Melbourne. Not the best kick coming out. Dana Smith's had a whale of a final term. Handball indirect, left behind by Booth. O'Neill taken to ground, releases it to Lynn. Fought off one tackler, just got her kick away as the umpire put the whistle to the mouth. Hartog suffers the same fate. We continue to play on. Ball vanishes underneath the pack. Umpire does us all a favour and calls for a stoppage on the attacking edge of the centre square for the Demons, who sit on a 22-point lead. That ball was taken by a player who wasn't in the ruck contest. Umpire called play on and now calls a free kick the way of the Demons. Everything coming up. Casey, red and blue right now. O'Neill kicked that big goal on the halftime siren to stretch Casey's lead to 16. Too far out to score here. Into the 50. Gall never really got a run at it. Here's Dana Smith again. On to O'Neill. A long raking left foot kick to full forward. Williams reaches for it. Roves her own work on the outside of the boot. That would have been an incredible goal. And instead she missed the whole set. But at the very least the Demons have the Borough hemmed in. On the last line of defence, it's in the hands here of Bacon, who has Caruso a target down the line, but not far down the line, it must be said. She's called to play on now. Last year's best and fairest winner and Lisa Hardiman medalist. Her kick clears the pack. It comes out to the fringes. This is where Casey have dominated today. Gillard's handball to Kirkwood, who was under serious pressure when she got the kick away. And it's marked quite brilliantly right on the paint of the boundary by Johnson, who will turn and send the Demons back into attack. It's punched away by McKellar. And that'll have to do for now. Another stoppage inside forward 50 for the Demons, who've kicked one goal in this final term. Port Melbourne have kicked 1 goal, 1. Just as Emily Harley looked to have maybe turned the tide with that brilliant boundary line goal. The Demons went up the other end and hit back immediately. Around the body from Gillard, Jessie Williams, who's gone back behind the ball, takes the mark. She can switch to the outer side here if she likes. She chooses the corridor instead. That was brilliantly read by O'Keefe. And not so by Rigoni. Knew where the ball was going to drop. Into the middle for Wilson. Running around the back again, O'Keefe. Got to get boot to ball quickly. They've opened him up ahead of the football. The Borough all playing on there was Eastman. Got boot to ball. Wicksteed rather. Here's Molly Eastman. Can she get boot to ball? Charge down. Ball, they cry. Umpire says play on. O'Keefe kept on running and finds the goal. Brilliant work from Caitlin O'Keefe. That was a 100-metre play from her. And Port Melbourne just continue to hang around. 4-5-29 they are, trailing the Demons. 7-3-45, 16 points the lead for the Demons. So 3 goals to win it for the Borough. Half of the quarter has ticked away. Emily Harley comes on to replace Molly Eastman. Demons fans in the crowd will think that they might have been unlucky they didn't get a free kick for holding the ball. It goes the Borough's way, and Caitlin O'Keefe has her second to just keep Port Melbourne interested here. In the middle again, Jatsak down. Seaton runs onto the loose football. What a tackle from Casey. Pinned the arm. Umpire said it went a little high. Free kick the Borough, and they play on. Seaton zigging and zagging, but not really getting herself into the clear. Worked a brilliant kick back into the middle, though. And it's marked by Bella Clark, who finesses a little kick down towards half forward. Rigoni's caught by Patterson, released it to O'Neill, and running off half back now is the dangerous one, the electric Tyler Byrne. Kicks down the broadcast wing, there's no mark to be had. Williams, reaching for it, couldn't pick it up. Caruso finds the loose footy, darts back inside, it was a poor option. And Jatsak, playing one kick behind the play, takes the intercept mark. They shouldn't be in any hurry here, the Demons. Oh, inboard, McDonald couldn't take the mark. Gave Seaton a chance. It was a good tackle, went unrewarded. It won't matter. Lynn kicks a high driving ball down towards half forward. McKellar again with the iron fist. Got the spoil. Didn't quite hit the boundary line, so she had to butter up. Handball wasn't good. Coughed up to Williams. High kick out into the pocket. Port Melbourne in a good position there. No mark, but a free kick for front on contact. Against Alyssa Bannon, standing under the high ball was Bella Clark. Once again, the Borough will play from the last line, just over the head of Gall. And it's marked by Georgia Booth, who's done some nice things on debut today for the Borough. Got to have a little bit more urgency then. They still need 3 goals to win it. They want the corridor. It's an ill-direct kick. The bounce favoured Borg, but she fumbled it. And it's back in dispute at centre-half forward for the Demons. Just a little bit tentative on their way out there, Port Melbourne. They don't get it out of the defensive zone. 7-3 plays, 4-5. Out of the ruck, Patterson. Jatsak, a good follow-up. Couldn't take it cleanly. Here's O'Keefe. Stood up in the tackle of Lampard. 23 disposals today for Sarah Lampard, Melbourne's AFLW Premiership hero. Lean on the fringes of the pack. Good handball on the up to Kirkwood. Goes towards Williams. Caruso's there with her, trying to get past Caruso. Williams did it really well. Kicks towards the full forward line. It's knocked away again by McKellar. It'll come the way of Clark. A clean pick-up, but she's been caught. Umpire said play on. Ball bounces around inside the forward 50 for the Demons. Ashley Cooper handball to Bacon. Kick was partially smothered. Bouncing ball was trapped by O'Keefe. Clark wasn't expecting the handball. Smith, the outside run, got it there towards Fairchild. Her kick smothered. Borg toe pokes it forward, but it's regathered by Madigan. Long kick into the 50. Bannon might get it on the bounce here. It eluded her. Ashley Cooper goes again. Her handball smothered. Well done, Lampard. Toe poked it away only as far as Hartog. O'Neill cut it off brilliantly. Threw it on the boot. And that's your ball game at Casey Fields. Outstanding work by Neve O'Neill. Great anticipation. Threw it on the boot. She was never missing from bang in front. O'Neill's got another. It's her second. And the Demons are going to cause the boil over at Casey Fields. And all of a sudden, Port Melbourne have a VFLW hoodoo on their hands. Or more to the point, a monkey on the back. Casey 8-3-51. Port Melbourne 4-5-29. 22 points the margin again. And the Demons are on their way to 2-2 and a big, big win for Matthew Brewer and Meg McDonald and all whose hearts beat red and blue. 51 plays 29, 5.5 minutes to go in the final quarter. Lampard can't escape. She's been sensational today for the Demons. We'll do it again. I'll tell you what, if you haven't got your VFLW membership for the Demons, now is the perfect time to get on board after this wonderful victory. Get behind your favourite VFL and VFLW team this season. Sign up as a member. You can head to the VFL website for all club membership details. And I'd imagine Joey Pignataro and Gemma Bestiani on the State of Play podcast this week. This result is going to take up quite a bit of fodder. The Demons with an upset victory, the upset of the season potentially over Port Melbourne, who brought in a couple more Richmond-listed players today. They brought in Jordan Mifsud as well, the big off-season recruits. But Casey, from the early minutes of the second quarter, have been much the better team, led by Lampard, who's underneath this pack again, who is up to 24 disposals now. 6 marks, 4 tackles, 3 clearances as well. Still in the middle of the ground. Gillard just took that one out of the ruck. Temple to her teammate who was swamped. Came back to Gillard and then to Lampard and to McDonald who coughed it up. Borg comes through. Somehow managed to get the juggling ball onto her boot. Eastman's reaching for it. It's broken up brilliantly by Tyler Byrne, who's been outstanding across the half-back line today. And her kick coming up to the wing is marked by Zoe Mitchell, who's had her moments as well. Settles for the left foot kick down the line. Williams in front. Boy, they have got the mojo right now, Casey. They've got the reigning premiers by the throat. Down the line to Sophie Casey. Johnson will run on. Casey gets back off the mark. Had a little look in Lily's direction and instead goes towards Jatak, who should mark. Well done, McKellar, back with the flight. Job not done, though. Jatak worked off it by McKellar. Holding on, says the umpire. And a free kick for the Demons. Ruck resting forward. And this is going to add insult to injury as far as Port Melbourne are concerned, as Yat Jack will line it up 15 metres out, just away to the right. And Jatzak, who's kicked a goal already this season. This to add one more nail to the Borough coffin. Jatzak misses from point blank. Damage has been done, but Lauren will be a bit disappointed with that. 8-4-52, the Demons. Port Melbourne 4-5-29, the margin back to 23 points. And Port Melbourne will suffer defeat for the first time this season. Ugly win last week against the Seagulls, followed by a performance that was below their best, and they will probably admit that, Sean Bunkle and the coaching staff. Tough place to come out here and win at Casey Fields, but they don't have a great home field advantage, the Demons. They've sure been well and truly at home today. Lampard races in to tie up Stella Reid as we're into the final 2 minutes of this one. The 23-point margin at three-quarter time currently stands. McDonald just missed Lampard with the handball. Lampard will get it after Mifsud overcommitted. Scrambling kick down towards half forward. Caruso's tried hard all day. Somehow released it. Woods under pressure from Johnson. It's come back the way of Mifsud. Wilson off to the running Williams. It's Jessie Williams of Port Melbourne. Now it's Ashley Cooper. Leaps into the kick. It was a great delivery. Harley comes out and takes the mark. She's called to play on. Got underneath the kick into the 50, and it's well marked by Gemma Rigoni, who repels for the Demons. That's a nice delivery as well. Mark taken out on the outer wing by Alyssa Bannon, who's kicked 2 big goals on her 22nd birthday. to fire the Demons to an upset victory in round 4. There might be more to come here. O'Neill takes the mark, runs right through the paint of 50, unselfishly over the top. Oh, Gall, it went through her legs, and now she's got problems as she's wrapped up by a couple of Port Melbourne defenders. And Casey just breaking down deep in attack there. O'Neill might have been forgiven for going for home there. She's a lovely left foot kick on the run. We've seen that already today. Hartog from the restart. Gave it to Caruso, who was under immediate pressure. And that'll be all she wrote as we tick into the final 30 seconds. Demons, for the second match-up in a row, have been too much to handle for Port Melbourne. One last fight for the footy. Can the Demons find one more goal? Wilson, handball through the traffic to Mifsud, who will have better days than this. Kick to Reid, who was called to play on it, didn't go 15. She spots Caitlin O'Keefe on the broadcast wing. But that'll be all she wrote. And Port Melbourne's first stumble of the season comes on the road through hell at Casey Fields. What a win for Matt Brewer and the Casey Demons. A boil over against the Borough for the second match-up running. And in the end, the final margin is 23 points. Casey, with their best win they've had in a while, 8-4-52.